Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
We've got a jam-packed Prediction Friday show for you today. We look at the latest high school football for the weekend. We also look at Arkansas Tech, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the World Series. There's plenty going on today. We don't really have time to get to everything today on Prediction Friday.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome in to the Sports Blitz Friday here at the River Valley Leader Studios. Weldon Braxton alongside me, Mark Freeman, and we are ready to bring you a Friday show. We call it Prediction Friday because it's time for you to give us your predictions. Go to facebook.com/sportsblitz or facebook.com/RVL News. Like those pages. Give us your predictions on the game Saturday. Tomorrow's game with the Razorbacks kicking off at 11:21, right?
Yeah.
Or is it 11:21?
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning. So we need your predictions. What do you think the score is going to be? Who do you think the big players are going to be? A lot of people are going to pick the Razorbacks to win, but we've already had a couple that have picked, at least one that have picked the Ole Miss Rebels to win. So don't feel bad if you don't think that the Razorbacks are going to be able to pull it out. Just let us know what you think. Go to our Facebook poll question today at the Honda of Russellville poll question on Facebook.com. Weldon, we've got plenty to talk about in only an hour to do it.
Yeah, Mark, we don't have much time. Of course, the World Series last night, San Francisco Giants going up 2-0. You've got some things going around the wire. Some news with the Honey Badger down there at LSU, or maybe no longer at LSU.
Yeah.
And, David Stern announcing his retirement, his exit strategy. So a lot to get to today.
Yeah, Honey Badger's about to be in the pokey for a while. He's going to be gone. He's going to be out of commission. And his career in football probably over. At least his college football career
college at least
is going to be over. That's kind of a sad deal, but at the same time, he brought it on himself, so you can't really be too upset about it. But we talked on Wednesday, and we're going to get to local sports here in just a second. But this has got to lead. It's the World Series. We talked about how on Wednesday there's got to be, there's a balance between rust and rest, and the Detroit Tigers had all this rest, and they came out and lost on Wednesday night. And then Thursday, you thought, they lost the Verlander start. They really need this start to win Game 2 and tie this series up, because you've already lost with your ace on the mound. And now the Giants they found ways, Weldon, to come out 2 games ahead. I know they've just held home field, but it feels like the Giants are just absolutely dominating this series. And I don't know how it could feel any other way with San Francisco up 2-0.
It really does, Mark. And we said this on Wednesday. There's just something to be said for coming in with momentum. Detroit Tigers certainly the favorites on paper. Not only when you look at this lineup, Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, Triple Crown winner, and all they have on offense, but Justin Verlander, reigning MVP, not just Cy Young, MVP, along with Doug Fister. You thought that the Tigers were just lined up to win this series, but the Giants are hot. And baseball is one of those sports where you can't always explain what's going on. I can't tell you why on earth Barry Zito has decided to pitch well after struggling his entire San Francisco Giants career.
Because he was deciding to pitch terrible up until now.
It must be. I mean, 34 years old. Then you got Ryan Vogelsong, 35 years old. He's been sensational in the playoffs. Tim Lincecum coming in relief, acting like he wanted to pitch well. And, of course, Pablo Sandoval in Game 1. 12 home runs all year long. He decides to go Reggie Jackson and hit 3 in one game. I mean, this absolutely comes out of nowhere. Justin Verlander seemed unhittable. He was. And then, of course, the Tigers in Game 2, they bring back Doug Fister, who's been sensational in the playoffs. I mean, Giants only scored 2 runs. Controversial call by Jim Leyland to send Prince Fielder home. He's been second-guessed about that a little bit, but still. The San Francisco Giants team, they just have that feeling about them.
Well, that call to send Prince Fielder home, the only reason that he was out was because of a perfect relay and a perfect throw to begin with. So I would have sent him. And I don't have any problems with him sending. He was out by that much. You know, he was out by just a couple inches, and he's a big guy. You know, you don't expect him to run any faster. They knew what they were getting into. It just had to be a perfect throw. It basically had to curve around him to get back in the baseline to take. I mean, it was just everything worked out perfectly for the Giants.
It did, and I heard some people on some other media outlets question it, but they're just looking at the circumstances of, oh, come on, it's a low-scoring game. You're sending your big, husky, power-hitting first baseman around in a game where runs are crucial. How could you do that? You had the inning set up for a big run, and you just squandered it. But I agree with you. Prince Fielder, first of all, is a lot better athlete than the way he looks. And as you mentioned, it took a heck of a throw to get him out anyway. So, I don't have a problem with Jim Leyland's decision.
We'll break down more along the World Series as it goes along. The next game is Saturday, so by Monday we'll have Game 3. Will they play Game 4 on Sunday?
They should.
This thing could be over by the time we get back on the air Monday. I don't expect it to be.
I think the Tigers will get it going again as they come back home. Certainly, if it gets crucial, you may see Justin Verlander come back. And, when a series shifts locations, you never know what may happen. But I got to tell you, the Giants, they're not afraid to go on the road either. So the Tigers, they can't relax. They got to go home and get these next couple at least.
Let's look at high school football as we move on. We'll go back to some national level sports here in just a little bit. But let's look at the Rack Furniture Warehouse local sports segment. The Russellville Cyclones taking on Fort Smith Southside tonight, Weldon. And this one's a huge one because it's on the road for one. And the Cyclones have run off 4 or 5 wins in a row here. Now if they can beat Southside, they'll set up a de facto, like you said, conference championship game next week at home against Greenwood. You can't look past Southside, though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, first of all, Southside's favored in this game.
Yeah.
And I've watched them. They should be favored. I mean, I believe Russellville has a chance to go to Fort Smith and win this game, but Southside, they're no scrubs. And I know Coach Holton, that Cyclone team, they're not overlooking Southside. So we're looking at it, though. If Russellville can get past this game tonight and get to Greenwood, it's going to set up a huge matchup. I mean, the Bulldogs are playing some great football, and it would be tremendous. I don't want to get into the tiebreaker scenarios. I sat down and wrote them down, but basically this 6A, 7A Central has been almost a parting of the Red Sea. You got really bad teams, you got good teams, you got Conway, Russellville, Greenwood, and Southside kind of in their own niche at the top, then the Little Rock Halls, Park Views of the world, Northside's down at the bottom. So there could be some things that happen in this next couple of weeks, next couple of games that could make for some crazy tiebreakers. We're talking about finishing anywhere from first place to fourth place in this conference.
And so it's just a crazy, crazy little scenario there that the Russellville Cyclones are going to have to overcome. Not the least of it being taking on Fort Smith Southside tonight.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be, like you mentioned, a tough test there for the Cyclones. But if they can get that win, we look at the next week's game against Greenwood being a huge game regardless of what is on the line there. Pottsville is taking on Booneville, traveling to Bearcat Country to take on Booneville tonight. Then their last week of the season will be a get-right game against Waldron. Dardanelle is taking on Maumelle on the road. Then they've got Mena next week. Morrilton is at Harrison tonight. They should be able to get a win because last week my Clarksville Panthers got their first win of the season against the Harrison Goblins, and now the Clarksville Panthers traveling to Shiloh Christian tonight. Well, that's a big game for the Panthers, a chance to get some momentum.
It really is, and we see Clarksville. Their struggles have been well documented. I mean, we don't have to go into how hard of a time Clarksville's had this year, and they did get a huge win against Harrison. You can't say enough about that. And then to get a chance to play against Shiloh Christian and knock them off, and certainly we know Shiloh is not the Shiloh of old where they're playing against out-of-state teams on national television and all of that. But you've brought this up several times a few years ago, the way Shiloh Christian flat out embarrassed Clarksville. And just for those Panther uniforms to go against those Shiloh Christian Saint uniforms and actually come out victorious, I think that means a lot. It's certainly something that's bigger than the game and the scoreboard would indicate. I think it's absolutely something huge.
Well, Clarksville looks to get some momentum going, and I talked to a player on Wednesday, and he said that they feel like they can beat Shiloh, and that's not necessarily always been the tone that the Panthers have had this season that they had a chance to win those games. So good luck to the Panthers tonight as they take on Shiloh. Nobody wants to see them beat Shiloh University more than I do. So
I understand that.
Let's hope that the Panthers get that win. Tonight's game of the week, though, Atkins hosting Lamar. That's going to be a big one. Matt Ketchum will be there on the scene. I will be there as well as the Red Devils take on the Warriors. Got some fans that I know from both sides, and it's going to be an interesting game. May go get me a big old turkey leg, sit up there in the stands and freeze my behind off. But I look forward to that one as the Red Devils and the Warriors lock horns tonight. Danville is taking on Paris on the road. Hector's at home versus Midland. Two Rivers is at Benton Harmony Grove, and Dover is at Waldron. So we've got a lot of games tonight, and like last week was pretty much everybody was at home. This week pretty much everybody's on the road. So you've got Atkins at home, you've got Hector at home, and then pretty much everybody else is on the road. Finally, Arkansas Tech. Got to pass along a little bit of Arkansas Tech news. The Wonder Boys 24-21 winners last Saturday over the UAM Boll Weevils. They'll take on Harding at 2 p.m. Saturday. They'll be on the road, obviously. They've played a lot of games at home, so they're kind of paying their back-end dues there playing on the road. But there's a little bit more news from Arkansas Tech as the Golden Suns volleyball team has moved to 23-7. They won 2 matches in a tri-match yesterday against Central Baptist and Lyon College. They've congratulations to the Golden Suns volleyball team. They're rolling right along in the GAC as well. This is just a step back from the GAC before they take on their rival Harding on Tuesday night. You go to the athletics.atu.edu page, and you've got a countdown screen on the front page that's counting down to this big matchup. They're trying to really hype it up, and they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, they've got a campaign, the Special Olympics benefit jersey night, so it's always good when you can do community affairs with the team. And this Golden Suns volleyball team, they've been sensational the last few years. We know that. Their last loss came against the number 1 team in the country. I mean, if that tells you anything about how good this team is, I want to see them moving forward postseason conference tournament, which they've won before, and then heading into the national tournament.
Looking also at Arkansas Tech, we're going to preview on Wednesday of next week basketball. We'll hit NBA predictions and things like that. But also, it has come out this week that the Great American Conference coaches have picked their preseason favorites. The Arkansas Tech Wonder Boys picked to win the Great American Conference in basketball, just like they did last year. They won the conference and the tournament. And the Golden Suns basketball team picked to finish second, in the Great American Conference preseason poll. So despite both teams, Weldon, losing a lot of players, it's going to look different in Tucker Coliseum this year. They're both picked to finish very high in the GAC.
Yeah, Mark. I mean, both teams have lost players. I mean, we know Natalia Santos is gone and Johnny Davis from the men's side. And so, each team is going to replace people. But what you like to see is that there's a program in place on both sides. It's not hey, we're cropping up every 5 years or so. We're going to be solid. There may be some names you don't recognize early as a fan, but we'll promise you by the end of the year, you'll know who these kids are. And
I love what I'm seeing from Arkansas Tech in basketball just really in every sport. You don't get the GAC All Sports Trophy by accident. They've done a very good job. But I like what Coach Carlskint's done with the men's basketball team. I like what Coach Wilbers has done with the women's basketball team. I really look forward to watching some Golden Suns and Wonder Boys basketball this year. There's not a better ticket in town, really. I mean, I can go watch high school basketball. I love watching the Cyclones and the Apaches and the Sand Lizards and the Panthers play some basketball. But really, if you want to get high-quality basketball, you can go watch the Golden Suns and the Wonder Boys any old time there at Tucker Coliseum, and you can get a good game. So we look forward to previewing basketball on Wednesday of next week. A couple of headlines we need to hit, and we're going to hit more of them right after the break. Looks like David Stern is going to resign in 2014. I don't know why you tell everybody a year and a half in advance, but
yeah. I mean, it's some kind of exit strategy. I know some people have come out and criticized him and said, well, he just wants to kind of go on a little victory lap tour, maybe clean some things up and so people can usher him out. I mean, David Stern's tenure, it's been one of some love, hate. You certainly can't deny what he's done from the game. I heard Charles Barkley say this morning how the average salary when he came in the league was around $300,000. Now it's around $5 million. Now some of that has to do with just the times and everything's increasing. But David Stern does deserve credit. I think you have to look at him as far as the globalization of the game. We see the Dirk Nowitzkis and the Manu Ginobilis and all the other great international players we have. You give him credit for that, the whole dream team and exposing the game nationally. And then David Stern's done some things that have been questionable. I mean, the way he's kind of conducted himself with players as far as negotiations and things. But when you're a leader, Mark, sometimes you have to be willing to be unpopular. And if I have to give Stern credit for something, he was willing to be unpopular at times.
And he did do a lot for the game as far as commercially and putting the game on the map in a global scale and things like that. So we do have to give him some credit there, but he didn't have to be so smug about
smug.
it. That's to me, that's the biggest part about him, the reason that I don't really care for him too much. A couple other things real quickly, and we'll hit the wire here in just a little bit. Tiger 5 back in Malaysia. Dwight Howard still talking, and we'll get to Dwight Howard here in a little bit. Looks like Mariano Rivera from the Yankees is considering retiring, and also Delonte West. And I know we're not going to hit the NBA today, but say a prayer for that dude because he's got some issues. He's got some mental issues, and I'm afraid that something bad's going to happen to him in his life if he doesn't get it straightened out in the near future.
Call up LeBron's mom, and he'll be fine. He'll be all right.
Oh, Lordy, that's one of those things you would never want to have that happen to you because you'd never live that down in a locker room.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, Lord. Well, we're going to go to break. We'll come back, and we'll hit plenty more on the Sports Blitz.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs. All with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval again at Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where Leon and I are back in business. We have gallery selection at quality warehouse prices here at the Rack Furniture Warehouse, 2609 East Parkway, Russellville.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome into the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Weldon, Braxton. It's time to hit some wire things fresh off the wire that have come off in the last couple hours, or things that you need to know about. We definitely want to know what you have to say about these things, and also about our poll question of the day. Our Honda of Russellville poll question was, what game are you going to be at tonight? Are you going to be at a high school football game tonight, bundled up like the rest of us? I think you need to. You get out there and watch some football. If you're going to be able to make it to Atkins, if you're going to travel on the road to Fort Smith to watch the Russellville Cyclones, if you're going to go watch your team, let us know who you're watching. Then also today's Prediction Friday, so you can go to facebook.com/sportsblitz or facebook.com/RVL News. Let us know what you think about the game tomorrow, what your score is. We've got score predictions coming in, and we'll read those when we talk about the Hogs here in just a little bit. Want to give you guys another opportunity to do that. And also, if you want to send us a text message anytime during the show, you can get a hold of us via the text box at 479-310-5620. That's the Sports Blitz text box, 479-310-5620. Weldon, we've got plenty of stuff that we need to hit in the wire real quickly. What are the most pertinent bits of information for folks that they need to know this weekend?
Well, we teased it at the beginning of the show. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, former LSU defensive back, arrested along with a few others. Jordan Jefferson was included in that group. And we know Mathieu was trying to rebuild, trying to get his life together, trying to get his priorities straight. Apparently, he was working with John Lucas. We know John has a track record for working with troubled athletes. I think he even worked with Jamarcus Russell some on his rehabilitation. But it's hard for me to even feel any type of emotion for this, because I look at Tyrann Mathieu and I'd say, here's a guy who clearly valued the recreational stuff and doing those things that he knew couldn't let him play football more than actually playing. And when I look at it from that standpoint, I kind of shrug my shoulders and say, okay, this guy clearly doesn't want to play. He clearly doesn't value his future in football. And that's okay. It's disappointing to see that it's come to him getting himself back into trouble. So I look at this Tyrann Mathieu situation. It's not even so much about him coming back to LSU, or it's not even so much about him playing in the NFL. It's just about his decision-making, and we see where his mind is at. I'm not sure he has a problem. I'm not sure he has some, rehabilitation, productive type issue. I just think this is what he wants to do, and this is the decision he made.
Tyrann Mathieu has made the big step up from synthetic marijuana to the real deal, apparently. Let's read a little bit from what the ESPN.com story said. It said, Mathieu gave police consent to search the apartment. Officers discovered a marijuana grinder, a digital scale, and 10 bags of high-grade marijuana. So we didn't even go just to the regular stuff. We went from synthetic to just the regular stuff to the high-grade marijuana, including 7 in Bryant's backpack, one of the 4 men who was arrested. 3 of them got simple possession. 1 of them got the biggest charges. It was intent to deliver, those types of things. Probably all of them were involved. I'm not going to say because they're innocent till proven guilty, but you don't accidentally have the 4 of you in an apartment with all this weed, and one guy just took the fall for all of it. But it looks like those guys, obviously their careers were over, but Tyrann Mathieu is now.
And my question was, I thought Jordan Jefferson was in the NFL. What's he doing? What's he doing here?
I thought he was in the NFL.
Yeah, I thought he was on somebody's roster, probably going to start this Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, I was surprised.
No, he's not. He's not on anybody's roster.
Oh.
Let's look at a couple other things real quickly. I thought this was very interesting, and I know we're going to hit more NBA next week, but Dwight Howard, this guy just needs to shut up. He really does. He's come out, and there's an ESPN.com story about him saying that he had a desire to play for the Brooklyn Nets. He had looked forward to it, and now he says, but I was traded to the Lakers, and I think that was a blessing in disguise. I think there's a reason why everything happened and the way it happened. So far, it's been an unbelievable experience for me. It's like a dream come true. Dwight Howard is one of those people who, if you listen to him talk, you can probably hear in about 3 sentences him say the word I or me about 4 million times, because he's one of those guys that doesn't care about anything but me.
Yeah, and the thing with Dwight Howard, in addition to what you said, was you can't play every side. You can't try to please everybody. Here he is, he had the situation with the Magic, trying to pacify Magic fans, trying to tease Nets fans, I guess trying to keep his agent happy, people pulling him in different directions to do different things. And when you do that, you end up making a mess. It comes a point to where you have to be decisive. You got to say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. Here it is. You may like it. You may not like it over there, but this is what I'm doing. Dwight Howard just talks just to hear himself talk. I mean, what productive thing could come out of you saying you wanted to be with the Brooklyn Nets, but you ended up being a Laker? I mean, actually, I already knew that. I already knew Dwight Howard didn't really want to be a Laker. I still think some of the concerns he had about playing with Kobe Bryant are still true. He kind of swept them under the rug because they're teammates now. But we all know he wants to go to Brooklyn. There's nothing that helps him or the Lakers by coming out and saying this about how he wants to be a Brooklyn Net. Just needs to stop talking.
And it looks like now when LeBron ends up in L.A., that Dwight Howard will end up in Brooklyn. I can't even say it with a straight face. Oh, Lord. It's just more drama. And I'm looking here right now at my NBA breakdowns, and I can't wait to give these to you on Wednesday. The NBA it's my wheelhouse. I love the NBA, love talking about it. I love taking my moment of glory because LeBron finally won an NBA
Go ahead,
championship.
soak in it. Soak in it.
I'll be soaking in it all year long, and all these haters like Brad can
just single though.
Take some.
Brad Caldwell.
Oh yeah, he loves it. Oh, he loves it. He give me so much junk about LeBron James and how Kobe was so much better. Oh, I can't wait to get some more props from him and him have to just tell me how great LeBron is. All right, let's move on. Let's just get into some Arkansas Razorback stuff because we've got a little bit more time today to do that, and we also want to get to the NFL and college football. But I think the most important thing that we could do today on a Razorback game week and the day before a Razorback game is to look at some Arkansas Razorback news. They're taking on Ole Miss tomorrow, like we've joked a couple times. It's at the scene of the crime where they fell to ULM, taking on Ole Miss. And Weldon, we know that this is going to be a game. We expect that Arkansas is going to have a tough time of it. We really wonder if Arkansas is going to win this game. And we're not just doing this for drama, for dramatic effect. We're really going back and forth on who's going to win this game.
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, look at Ole Miss. Don't say, oh, it's just lowly old Ole Miss. I mean, this team, their record may not say it, but they can put points on the board against a lot of people. I mean, they played Alabama. I've said this before. They gave Alabama their toughest game of the year. Their defense even showed up some against Alabama. I think the Crimson Tide used a special teams play to regain the lead right after Ole Miss had taken the lead early in that ball game. I mean, their defense, they're athletic. They're going to mix up their looks. They're going to try to confuse Tyler Wilson, roll coverages, all the different things that defensive coordinators do. That offense, it's high octane. Hugh Freeze, of course, if you watched it at Arkansas State last year, seeing some of the same things again. We know what they have at running back. They've got speed. Arkansas better be careful because when we look at this big picture, bowl game's on the line. I mean, some people say, well, postseason doesn't start till December. Postseason starts now for Arkansas. I mean, you're not making a bowl game, period, if you don't win this game. I just can't see any way. You still would have trouble even if you win this game. So Arkansas, Ole Miss, it will be a game. Both teams have a lot riding on this. It should be fun at War Memorial.
Hey, Maddie, I need you to look up what jerseys Arkansas is going to wear tomorrow. I think they might bust out the anthracite again.
Really? Again?
I really do. I think they might because they only play one more game at home. Well, two more games at home, unless they're going to bust them out against LSU. It just seems like
they do in the daytime. That's the only thing. I don't see many teams wearing the dark anthracite / black in the daytime. But I kind of like see where you're thinking. I want to see if they mix up some stuff. We've seen the white helmets and white. I want to see if they mix it up with anthracite and white helmet or something. I don't even know if that look good. But just mix it up some now.
Yeah. Well, either way, that's a lesser important issue here. Well, I just saw that Jeff Long tweeted this morning that you need to bust out your cardinal in white and anthracite.
It's cool. I'm glad you brought that up. Jeff Long, he's always been an active tweeter anyway. Didn't see many tweets from him during that losing streak. And 52-0 Alabama, 58-10 to A&M, lost to Rutgers. Jeff Long's account was a little bit quiet. I'm glad to see him peek back out now. He's even doing some media appearances, addressed the coaching search again. Of course, he didn't give us anything, but it's good to see Jeff Long back out again.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely has
Yeah.
popped his head back out. Well, let's look at some numbers and things that we need to know. A little bit about Ole Miss. They're 4-3, 1-2 in the SEC. They've struggled because they've played Alabama, which is par for the course. They've lost to Texas A&M just like Arkansas has, although Arkansas got beat 58-10, and Texas A&M beat Ole Miss 30-27.
Comeback win.
And also Arkansas beat Auburn 24-7, and Ole Miss beat Auburn 41-20. They're 65th in the country in passing yards and 26th in rushing yards, but that's 229 passing yards, 211 rushing yards. A very balanced team. They've scored 32 points a game. They give up 26 points a game. Arkansas is going to be able to score some points on them, Weldon, but the question will be, can Arkansas stop them?
Yeah, that's the question. And this Arkansas team, you just want to know which one is going to show up. If the Arkansas team shows up to their potential the way I believe they can play, I expect them to beat Ole Miss. But if Arkansas comes out flat, which at an 11:30 kickoff, you never know with young players how they're going to come out, then it could be problematic for Arkansas. So really for me, Mark, when I'm picking a winner of this game, I'm really asking myself what Arkansas team is going to show up, because I think a 10 out of 10 effort from Arkansas will yield a victory. I think anything less than that puts this game in extreme question.
And that's going to be the question. Will Arkansas be able to – I think the effort – I don't know that effort's going to take any Performance is definitely, yeah. Effort, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that playing in the Rock. You're going to see guys like Chris Gregg back for the first time in a while. Kobe Hamilton always plays well there. Tyler Wilson, he knows he wants to redeem himself after he wasn't able to play in the second half of that game. I think there are a lot of good storylines that go along with this story or along with this game, and we'll definitely get to many more of them as we go along in the show. We're going to go to break real quick, and when we get back, we'll break down the game in a little better detail.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
It doesn't matter what you're looking for, chances are Good Deal Charlie Discount Furniture has it. From living room, bedroom, and dining furniture to one-of-a-kind pieces, Good Deal Charlie has everything. The staff is pleasant and always friendly, so you'll feel no pressure to buy. With new and used furniture for your home or office, you can find everything you need at the best possible prices at 2209 East Main Street in Russellville. Good Deal Charlie.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Got listeners chiming in on our Honda of Russellville poll question today, asking you which high school football game you're going to be at tonight. I will be at Atkins Lamar for a little bit, just got some bad news from our writer, Matt, who is not going to be able to go cover the game. His grandpa had a heart attack, and we will definitely be sending our best thoughts his way. He's not going to be able to write the game for us tonight, but we will definitely be there. We wanted to know where you're going to be tonight. We've got a couple Two Rivers Gators fans who have responded. Kim Bradford's going to be watching Two Rivers, and Benton Harmony Grove going to be on the road there. Diane Tomlinson also will be at that game. Where are you going to be tonight? What game are you going to watch? There are lots of good games going on in the River Valley, and you may have to travel to watch your team play, but I'm sure they would appreciate you being there and making that effort. Also, our question of the day, it's Prediction Friday, obviously. We want to know what you think about the Razorback game tomorrow. What's the score going to be? Who's going to win? What are some players to watch? Maybe an MVP, some stats. We've got some very in-depth stats that we'll get to later on in the show. You can also text us at 479-310-5620 at the Sports Blitz text box. But, Weldon, let's look real quickly as we'll come back to college football here in just a little bit. Let's look at the NFL games of the week, the biggest games to watch. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys, always the most interesting game to me. They're taking on the Giants, and we'll get to that game here in just a minute. But I've got 5 games that I wrote down. Seattle-Detroit is one that interests me.
Yeah, and I like that one because the Detroit Lions, we see all this talent on both sides of the ball. Matthew Stafford, Megatron, even Brandon Pettigrew, of course, and Ndamukong Suh on the other side of the ball. It just hasn't clicked. Offensively, they're one-dimensional. They haven't been able to get a running game going with Mikael Ashore. The Lions have playoff-caliber talent, but they don't have playoff-caliber intangibles. But I always say the NFL, a lot of times it just comes down to who needs and wants a win more. The Lions at home, coming off an embarrassing win against a loss against Chicago, I expect them to play well against Seattle.
You know, sometimes I like bringing in fantasy football.
Bring it.
I'm smiling ear to ear on the inside right now because it looks like Danny Amendola is questionable to play this week, 50-50.
I picked him up in the league.
I did too, off the waivers. Somebody cut him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was going to be out a couple weeks. He's a top 10 wide receiver when he's healthy, as far as the last couple of years when he's been healthy.
Yeah, he was 6 weeks, and he's just really beat that time frame to death. So, yeah.
Yes, we're looking good. And then in one of my leagues, I've had to put him on the bench because he's been hurt. But I can move him back into the starting lineup and play 3 wide receivers. I can't wait to see how that one works out. But as this Seattle-Detroit game goes, to me, Detroit fans, I don't know if you're going to play Matt Stafford, I guess fantasy football fans, if you're going to play Matt Stafford, I would be very, very careful because he's been struggling the last few weeks. And this Seattle secondary is no joke.
Oh, no.
Everything that I've seen from them this year has been that they're one of the most physical defensive backfields in the league. They come up and play the run, but they can also play the pass. They're very, very good in pass coverage. It scares me with what I've seen from Detroit. But like you said before the show, when a team needs a win in the NFL, it seems like they always get that win when they're just desperate for a win.
Well, look, you talk about fantasy. I told you last week I set Stafford down. I started Andrew Luck, and I really didn't have any questions about it. Now, this week's a little different. Luck's got a little bit of a knee situation going against it's kind of a slugfest-type Titans team. And then, of course, Stafford against that secondary of Seattle. I probably will go with Stafford, but, I'm kind of hesitant about that one.
Looking at the second game of the week, talk about slugfest. The Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. On paper, you wouldn't think, who really cares? Both these teams aren't that great. But the Reggie Bush, LaRon Landry, everybody talking trash to each other, that's karma that he got hurt, and it's all this that's gone on, makes this a kind of an interesting game. Reggie Bush, they're talking about putting hot sauce on it, making, we're going to headhunt, we're going to come after him. Some definite keywords, some buzzwords that are going on in this matchup, Weldon, and I look forward to seeing who really at the end of this game is standing up and backing up all that talk.
Well, look, I say if you're the players, you need to forget that. And we got AFC East implications. Remember, this division is bunched up. You got a lot of teams at 3-4 and 4-3. Dolphins coming off their bye week 3-3. And how about Miami? I got to tip my hat to them a little bit. I thought there was a chance this would be one of the worst teams in all of football. And certainly it's early. They could still fall apart, but their defense has played better than I thought. Ryan Tannehill, the wheels haven't fallen off. And then Reggie Bush embracing that workhorse role. I mean, of course, coming into the league, it was Reggie Bush is a scat back, 6 carries a game, maybe try to get him 5 catches, move him around. He's really embraced being a full-time running back, and this Dolphins team has been surprising. And of course, we know the soap opera with the New York Jets. Every time they do anything, it's a story. If Miami can go up to New York and get this game, there'll be a lot of talk next week.
The third game of the week, it involves our third-ranked team in our power rankings, the Atlanta Falcons, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. Looks like Michael Vick's playing for his job.
Oh, yeah. Michael Vick, Andy Reid, everybody playing for their job. And I've said it before. Teams, when they need a win, they tend to get it when they have talent. Eagles, a talented team. They need a win. But I'm not sold on them over the Atlanta Falcons. You would think I would pick them easily because we know I don't really trust my Atlanta Falcons right now. And I think people are kind of just giving this game to Philadelphia from listening and talking to people. They're saying, well, Philly back against the wall. Atlanta doesn't have a lot to play for. They're undefeated. I'm not sure I'm ready to give the Eagles this game, especially when they turn the ball over. Look, Juan Castillo got fired, but it's this Philadelphia Eagles offense that's almost last in the league. And so Andy Reid, Michael Vick, they got to get that corrected before they can talk about winning games.
To me, I expect Philadelphia is going to win this game for a couple of reasons. One, like you said, Atlanta's undefeated. They're playing with house money at this point because you were saying 9-7, get them in the playoffs and get them hot at the end of the season. But they're 6-0. If they went 9-7 now, they've had a massive slide to end the season. And you don't know if they would end up making the playoffs as it is. Philadelphia, they're kind of in the same situation Detroit was in that you were just mentioning. They're playing for their lives. Michael Vick playing for his job. Andy Reid coaching for his job. And if they can just eliminate some turnovers, and I'm not an Eagles fan by any means. Matter of fact, I hate them. They're probably my least favorite team in the NFL.
Any reason for that?
Well, just the fact that I'm a Cowboys fan and they hurt Michael Irvin back in the day. You remember that? They broke his neck and clapped about it? Or whatever it was. They hurt him and he's laying on the field. Yeah, I hated that. Never been a big Eagles fan since then. But they're playing for their lives. It's a must-win for them. And like you said about Detroit earlier, when you're playing for your lives, when you're playing, for everything, the turnovers are going to have to slow down. I mean, there's no way that, honestly, I don't know that it could be worse as far as so far this season for the Eagles. At some point, they're going to click. They're not going to have all these turnovers, and they're just going to blow somebody out. Everybody's going to think it's great. It may go back, and they may turn the ball over 4 or 5 times the next game, but at least one game, they're going to play well. I think that that's going to be this week. They're going to get right against the Atlanta Falcons. Everything is going to be glorious in Dream Team Town for at least 1 week. The New Orleans Saints and the Denver Broncos, this one's going to be a shootout.
This is it. Yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, that right there, those two names.
Yep.
I mean, that's what needs to bring you to your TV on Sunday, right, for that game alone. I mean,
is that the Sunday night game?
It's a Sunday night game. I was going to say that game at least better be Sunday night, maybe even Monday. But
I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Thank you, Faith Hill.
Yeah, that's a whole other story right there. And, she's 45 and I don't care. I mean, I don't.
Wipe your lip there.
but back to this game, though. Let me refocus here. Saints, Broncos, you touched on it. Points in this game. Drew Brees. I'm trying to pick who I'm going to want to win this game or who will win this game. And Drew Brees, he's going to cut it loose. We know he's going to throw for around 400 yards, hit Jimmy Graham, score quickly. Would not surprise me if Peyton Manning actually tried to slow the tempo down. We hardly ever see Peyton Manning control tempo, but I think he understands the dynamic of this game. High-octane offense, and he's going up against a defense. He can do whatever. Peyton Manning might try to control tempo a little bit to help his defense because Peyton Manning's not just a quarterback. He's a coach. I mean, he understands the big picture, offense, defense. Watch how Peyton manages this game. I think that'll be huge.
What I need is a shootout. Because I've got both of them. Both of them are my quarterbacks in my fantasy. And actually, in one league, they're on the same team. But I do have them in both of my leagues. And I need a shootout. I need a 45-44 game.
It could be.
I mean, that's what I'd like to see. But I think the New Orleans Saints are a little more suited for that. And like you said about the Denver Broncos, they're a little more suited for let's slow it down, let's run it with Willis McGahee, let's march down the field. We've got Peyton Manning.
Let's throw it to Eric Decker every time.
Let's let the 45-yard line make tackles on us. Yeah, they've done a pretty good job of that. Eric Decker, oh my gosh, for being a top 10 fantasy wide receiver or whatever he is, top 20, he's terrible. He is terrible. I need a shootout, though. I expect that, like you said, Peyton Manning will do what he needs to do. I think if he gets a chance, he's going to fling it. Obviously, Drew Brees is going to throw for 350 to 400 yards because that's just what he does. They don't do anything else. But like you said, I think Peyton Manning will try his best to control the speed and tempo of the game so that he can, grind it to a halt if he needs to. He can speed it up if he needs to, help his defense out, keep Drew Brees off the field. That's always a good policy.
Yeah, because Drew Brees' philosophy is not to help his defense. He's like, look, defense, you're a liability. I have to score and overcome you, so I'm just going to keep putting up points. You keep giving up points. Peyton's going to say, okay, I can score some here. Let's try to pound it a little bit. Give, Von Miller and you guys some rest over there, try to help you out because I know you're going against Drew in that offense, so I'm going to do my part.
To me, that one is the most interesting game of the week, but the game that matters the most to me, obviously the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Giants. I know that Jerry Jones opened his mouth at the beginning of the season and said, come watch us whip New York's rear, and then they went to New York and won that game, but he was talking about the game at home.
Yeah.
I don't think Dallas has beat the Giants at home yet since they've opened Jerry World. They have not been in Jerry World and beaten Dallas and beaten New York. To me, the Giants have played. Were they number 1, or number 2 in our power rankings?
2, yeah.
We've switched them around here and there with Houston, but they've been very impressive. Eli Manning, MVP talk, all this talk about how great he's been, and Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys have kind of underperformed. Tony Romo, to me, I like Tony Romo. I'm a Romo guy. I'm not going to hate on him. But to me, they've got to win this game to solidify that, we're the real deal. I picked them to go to the playoffs as an NFC wild card, so I really need them to win this game because I feel like the Giants are going to be more consistent throughout the conference and division schedule. They're going to win the division, but I'd really like to have Dallas have that 2-game edge against them head-to-head so that they have a chance to make the playoffs as a wild card.
Oh, that'd be huge for tiebreakers, having a 2-0 advantage. Dallas 2.5-point underdogs in this game. With the Cowboys, Mark, it's all about what Dallas team is going to show up. And fairly, I can't argue or complain, people have said the same old Dallas up and down, their same traits. They're going to be 8-8 because they're going to, win and lose back and forth. This is Dallas's chance to prove, hey, we're consistent. We had a grinded-out win over the Carolina Panthers. We're going to come back home against the division rival and get the job done. And, Mark, it is fantasy, you and me, matchup quarterbacks.
I know.
I need Eli Manning to put about 30-some fantasy points. Tony Romo to throw about 6 interceptions.
Come on now.
That's only one more than his season high. So, it's not really asking too much for him to go ahead and do that.
Oh, come on now. Well, we'll be watching that game. It'll be the 3:25 game on Fox. Can't wait to see Dallas get back out there and play. Really hope that they are able to put up a good performance. It's Prediction Friday, and when we come back from this final break, we're going to get your predictions, and we're going to give ours for the Razorbacks and look at some college football games of the week.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much, much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville. Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
AR Sports present the 2012 River Valley Football Magazine, featuring profiles of local high school football teams, as well as college football previews and player spotlights. Professional photography accompanies top-notch writing throughout to bring you the best locally focused publication in Arkansas. You'll enjoy special tributes to local legends Jerry Aiken and Don Sevier, as well as an exclusive interview with Razorback all-time great Clint Sterner in this year's magazine. Available at fine establishments throughout the River Valley. Pick up your copy of River Valley Football Magazine today.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
You probably are crazy. You probably are. Welcome back to the Sports Blitz. We're talking off the air about what Arkansas is going to do the rest of the season. We're interested to know what you think. It's Prediction Friday. We'll get to the Razorback game here in just a minute. We've got about 7 minutes to close up shop, and we've got 5 games of the week to look at. The first one is the world's largest. We really shouldn't call it the cocktail party anymore because that's politically incorrect. Florida, Georgia in Jacksonville. I've got the Gators. Thank you, Robert Ashe. I understand that they're so great now that I should never go against them, but I'm going with the Gators because I don't trust Georgia whatsoever. Aaron Murray, you can have him. If you want him, I'll take Tyler Wilson or somebody like even Driscoll from Florida, who's a little bit more steady because he'll rely on his defense, rely on his running game. Aaron Murray, to me, is just he scares me. So I'll go with Florida in that one.
Well, kind of like Arkansas, for me, it's what Georgia team is going to show up. This is a Georgia team that's got NFL talent all over their defense, and they just haven't showed up for some reason defensively. Aaron Murray, coming out of his redshirt freshman year, high expectations in 2011, didn't live up to it, hasn't lived up to it this year. Georgia's one of those teams, because I remember a few years ago, after the Tebow, Urban Meyer, Florida Gators teams were just beating Georgia down. Finally, Stafford and company said we got tired of it, and they beat down Florida. Georgia has the potential to rise up and flex their muscles, but I trust the Florida Gators more, and I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a physical team. I'm going to get a team that's going to show all these different formations with tight ends and different ways of running the ball. I trust Florida. I think the Gators are 6.5-point favorites right now. If I were picking this game against the spread, I'd take Georgia with the points, but straight up, I got to go with Florida.
I'd definitely pick Florida to win the game. And you said 6.5 points?
Yeah.
That's a tough spread. I think Florida will probably win by more than that, but you can really never tell.
Probably a tough
Last
one to
week,
pick.
I said that I'd pick Florida over South Carolina because I didn't think that Lattimore was healthy, and it really wouldn't have mattered if they had 4 Lattimores last week. They just got thrashed. So, I'll go with Florida to win the game. Looking at the second game, Texas Tech at Kansas State, you got Heisman Trophy favorite Colin Klein, who's going to get to put up some numbers because Texas Tech, they don't really care too much about defense. They want to put up numbers offensively. Well,
they're pretty good defense. I don't know.
As an Arkansas Razorback fan, I shouldn't say anything. I should say they're awesome. But Kansas State, I expect, is going to be able to put up some points. I'm going with the Wildcats, and the long Heisman Trophy campaign of Colin Klein gets a little longer.
Yeah, your favorite player, your favorite team, Kansas State. Because I know how
I really don't like.
I know how great you think.
I really don't think they're that great. Honestly, I don't.
I don't either. Colin Klein's a guy. I have to give him credit for his intangibles, what he means to that team. I give them the edge. I think Tuberville and company will hang in the game, but I just think Kansas State's got a little bit more, and Colin Klein gives them a little bit of an edge.
Oh, they drive me nuts. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, I'll be rooting as hard as I can for the Oklahoma Sooners in this one, but I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be too much.
So you got Notre Dame.
I do.
Yeah. Well, you might want to go to Vegas. Oklahoma's an 11-point favorite in this one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I'm going with the points, I'm definitely going with Notre Dame to win the game. And
so you got Notre Dame straight up to win, right?
I was looking at the points, and I would say Notre Dame. I would take the points for Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
I'm going to be rooting for Oklahoma. They've only lost 2 games, I think, in one season since Bob Stoops has started. They've lost 4 home games since Bob Stoops took over as head coach. I don't really trust their offense in Landry Jones because Notre Dame's defense is solid. I don't necessarily trust Notre Dame's offense either. So that's kind of where the catch is going with me on that one. But like I said, I'm from Oklahoma. My family already tried to disown me when I picked Texas.
Yeah, probably wouldn't pick Oklahoma against the spread, 11 points. I think Oklahoma at home, big game focus, will end up putting them over the top. This Notre Dame offense, again, I just don't trust it. Golston's health and the fact that he's a freshman and Tommy Rees kind of hanging in the balance as well. We know how they shuffle quarterbacks around. Struggled against BYU. They've won some lower scoring games. I know they blew Miami out, but it's Miami. It's not the 1980s or 90s Miami. It's a different Hurricane team that they put 40 on. So I got to go with Oklahoma. I think they're going to do enough. It may be a relatively low scoring game, so I can't see an 11-point spread, but I got to go with the Sooners.
I'm definitely going with the Mississippi State Bulldogs over Alabama tomorrow.
I thought you might.
Yeah, not going to happen. I'm going to stick with my national champs to win that game. Is there really any reason to talk about this one?
I'll talk a little bit about it, just because what Mississippi State's going to do. I know we're getting close on time here. Mississippi State got one of the best secondaries in all of college football. I think that helps you in stopping Ed Lacy and what's his name, Weldon, the running back.
Yeah, TJ Weldon.
Yeah, it helps stopping them because you can go one-on-one out on the outside, help commit guys in the box. But I think Alabama's just going to grind. A.J. McCarron can make plays against one-on-one coverage, throwing the ball, something that Alabama teams in past years haven't been able to do. I got Alabama around 31-16 mark, something in that neighborhood.
All right, now looking at the Razorbacks taking on Ole Miss in the Rock. We've asked the question today, what do you think the score is going to be? Who do you think is going to win? We've got a little bit of a mixed response as Coach Tony Davis, Clarksville Panthers basketball coach, has commented on this one, and he's got Ole Miss winning the game. Razorback Fan Nation has, and that's, I guess, Hog Billy. Hogs 52, Ole Miss 31. He's very detailed because he says Gragg 3 touchdowns, Hamilton 2 touchdowns, Dennis Johnson 2 touchdowns, and Hawker 3 45-yard field goals. He says, go Hogs, go.
All
Corey
45.
Williams, all 45. Corey Williams says Arkansas 34, Ole Miss 24. You know Kobe Hamilton always does it big in the Rock.
He does. I'm surprised.
He does play well there.
I'm surprised Corey didn't say anything about this being the Houston Nut Bowl.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything about the basketball team.
No, yeah, well, I know
he loves him
excited.
some basketball.
But my plan really have Houston flip the coin at halftime. I mean, at the beginning of the game, this is his bowl game, and so I say that's a great idea.
Bowl game.
We know he'd get cheered.
Oh Lord, Tony Davis says 35-28 Ole Miss over Arkansas in the game.
Yeah.
Where do you stand here?
I've been back and forth on this one, and my predictions have been a little rough lately. I'll be the first to admit that. I just have to look at a senior quarterback. To me, that's going to be the difference. As far as a score, I'll go 38-31 Arkansas. I just think Tyler Wilson as a senior quarterback is the edge. Ole Miss is going to make some plays. They're going to make quite a few big plays. Arkansas is going to make some plays. I give Tyler Wilson the edge for Arkansas.
Man, I've been a little closer on some of my predictions the last few weeks, but it's going to be tough this week because we're really close. I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. We didn't talk about this before the show, so we didn't get exact predictions and scores and things before the game. But Kobe Hamilton, Tyler Wilson, Chris Gregg, this is money time for them. They're coming down to the end of their senior seasons. They need to make that money. They need to get their numbers where they need them to be. I know they're not playing for numbers, but they need to produce. Bottom line, they need to produce, play well. They need to get to where they can make some money in the future. Chris Gregg's got to show that he's healthy. Kobe Hamilton's got to show that he can stretch the field, play inside, outside, do whatever he needs to do. Tyler Wilson needs to throw that he can show that he can throw outside the numbers. He can throw accurately inside the numbers. He's got to put up good stats the rest of the way. They've got to win games. I think that it starts this week. I've got Arkansas 34-31 over Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss is going to put up points, and if you hold Ole Miss to 31 points, you've held them under their average of 32. And if you score more than 26, you've scored more than the average that they've given up. So I think that I'm going against the averages here both ways for Arkansas to win this game. But I just don't see them losing this game in the Rock with these seniors and all these guys coming back a week to prepare. It's just, to me, all the signs points Arkansas winning.
You're going to be a tore-up young man.
I'm going to be very upset. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Ole Miss, like I said, they're going to make some plays. We know that. I just don't know from an intangible standpoint, a close game, if they're going to hold up. So I got Arkansas.
Well, we'll be looking at this game and many more come Monday. We look forward to Wednesday when we can talk about NBA predictions, but we'll recap all the games in high school, college, and NFL, and also World Series and plenty more on Monday. So we hope you will join us back here in studio on Monday. For Weldon, I'm Mark. So long, and y'all have a good weekend.